Hi, hello, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Now, this channel is called Nick's Wanderings, and it's about my wanderings, about things that I do. So it's not always about narrowboats and narrowboat engines and electrics, etc. Sometimes I'm off doing different things. And this video is the first of 3 videos on events that I regularly attend every summer on the Thames. This first video will be about the Henley Royal Regatta, and we'll give you a sneak peek around the regatta into some of the enclosures, and I'll explain what goes on at the regatta and how things happen. The second video will be about the Henley Arts Festival, which happens the week after Henley Royal Regatta. And the third video in the series will be about the traditional boat show, which also happens on the Thames. So please don't unsubscribe if you think, oh dear, he's gone off on one and he's no longer talking about narrowboats, etc., because I will be back on that subject in a later video. So, first video, Henley Royal Regatta.
Henley is a small town of about 12,000 people, and it is on the River Thames. It is in southern Oxfordshire. In fact, it sits right on the border of Buckinghamshire, Berkshire and Oxfordshire. And each June, July, end of June, beginning of July, it hosts an international rowing regatta. The history of the regatta is quite interesting in that it started as the Oxford-Cambridge boat race. That was first held in Henley, I believe, in the sort of 1820s. And the townsfolk realised that it was a good little money spinner. A lot of people came into the town just to see that one rowing race. So they set up Henley Regatta. And that happened in 1839. And the regatta has run every year since, apart from during the First and the Second World Wars. The regatta is a 6-day event that attracts crews from all over the world. And the reason the regatta is held in Henley is because, as I said earlier, the Oxford and Cambridge boat race was originally rowed here. And the reason they picked Henley is because it has a long, straight stretch of river. As you leave the town centre and cross over the bridge, you get your first view of the regatta and the regatta course. And the thing that amazes me every year that I go is the sheer number of people that attend. And also, what a huge event it is in terms of actually building the structures, all the tents and all the booms and everything that go into making this regatta. From the bridge you walk down the towpath past the world famous Leander Club and you enter the first sort of enclosure down the regatta. You need a badge of some type to get into this enclosure area. And this area is the boat tents. These boat tents are where the boats are stored and where the crews take their boats down onto the river to compete. The crews leave the boat tent area and row down the river to the start, which is about 1.4 miles away. From the boat tent area, the next enclosure along the course, which is at the finish line, is the Stewards Enclosure.
This is good. Can I grab him for 4 minutes?
To enter the Stewards Enclosure, you either have to be a steward, that is a person that runs the regatta, a member of the Stewards Enclosure, or a guest of a member of the Stewards Enclosure. The enclosure has quite strict dress regulations. Gentlemen have to wear a tie and a jacket and be smartly dressed. Women can wear skirts, but they must cover the knee, and or a trouser suit.
That's good.
The dress regulations do make the regatta sound rather stuffy and formal, but it adds to the atmosphere of the place. Everybody is very smartly dressed and very smartly turned out. There is a social element to the regatta, but it is a serious rowing event. You have world-class Olympic oarsmen and women rowing at the regatta. You have national squad teams rowing at the regatta, admittedly not under their country's names, but they will be rowing at the regatta. It is a major rowing event and the sport is taken very, very seriously. At the regatta you will see men and women wearing their brightly coloured rowing blazers. There are great areas to watch the rowing from, such as grandstands. And there are some areas of the Stewards Enclosure where only members of the enclosure can go, such as the members grandstand or the wonderful floating grandstand, where you get a stunning view of the regatta and the course. From the floating grandstand you can also see the very private and exclusive stewards only area of the enclosure. The grandstand is a great place to watch the rowing, and now that they have television cameras along the course, you also get a live feed to screens in the grandstand, so you can watch the rowing from start to the finish. The grandstand is also a great place to watch people milling around and walking around the Stewards Enclosure. Now, the regatta is not all about the rowing. There is a very, very strong social element to the regatta, and in the Stewards Enclosure there are a number of bars. There is the Bridge Bar, which is a great place to spend time having drinks with friends. There is the Coffee Bar, great for sandwiches and coffees. There is the English Garden Bar, which used to be called the Champagne Bar, which is another favourite haunt of a lot of people. Wonderful place to sit, right next to the bandstand if you like the live music. And not shown, there is also the Forley Bar, which is just a little further along the course. Besides the dress code, there are other rules that you have to obey in the Stewards Enclosure, such as not using your mobile phone to make phone calls. You can use it to surf the web or to post to social media and take photographs, but you can't use it to make a phone call. You're also not allowed to take your glasses, your drinks outside the bar area. You've got to stay in the bar area with your glasses and your drinks. If you're looking for food, there are various restaurants and dining areas in the Stewards Enclosure. And basically, there's pretty much everything you need in the Stewards Enclosure for a great day out, including somewhere to park your skiff. Next to the Stewards Enclosure is the Regatta Enclosure, or as it used to be called years ago, the General Enclosure. Again, this offers a stand from which you can watch the rowing, and there's a bar there and you get food and drink and generally have a good time. So what about the rowing? What about the course? What goes on beyond these enclosures? Because these enclosures are just at the very sort of top, the last sort of 500, 600 yards of the regatta course. Well, the finish line for the course is in the Stewards Enclosure, and the finish line is 1 mile 550 yards from the start, which is 2,112 metres, which means the course is 112 metres longer than the standard Olympic course. The competitors are rowing upstream, 2 at a time up this course, and all the booms here and the posts that you can see put in, and all the tenting that you can see on the right in the Stewards Enclosure is put up just for the regatta. It's quite incredible the amount of work they do. Now, the finish of the course is in the Stewards Enclosure, and the start is 1 mile 550 yards downstream from the finish, or 212 metres. Now, supposedly this is the sort of longest straight stretch of inland waterway or riverway in the UK. The truth of the matter is they had to lop a bit of the bank off to get this length of course. The area from where they removed the bank is shown here in the circle. For the boat tent area, the Stewards Enclosure and the Regatta Enclosure, you need a badge. But anyone can walk along the bank of the river and watch the rowing right the way from the end of the Regatta Enclosure down to the start. And I always enjoy walking along the course to see what's going on. A little further down the course is Remenham Club. This is a club that is open to members from a number of rowing clubs and is a private club. Beyond Remenham Club is the Upper Thames Rowing Club, sometimes rather rudely referred to as the Upper Tree Rowing Club. I've never really understood why that is. The Upper Thames has got quite a bit of land which they open up during the regatta for various companies to set up food stalls, bars, small shops selling range of sort of clothes and rowing paraphernalia. Beyond the Upper Thames Rowing Club, you enter Coppice Farmland, which has more bars and food stalls and sort of general stalls, and also corporate and personal sort of hospitality areas. But anywhere along the towpath you can stop and watch the rowing. As you get closer to the start and Temple Island, there are areas that families or small companies can rent out for a day or the whole regatta for picnics and parties and get-togethers. There are also large corporate hospitality areas where large companies will rent out the space for the day to entertain clients, and also for a party for their employees. And as you approach the start of the course, you come across one of my favourite islands on the River Thames, Temple Island. So what about the racing? What about the sport? Well, anyone can stand at the start of the 1 mile 550 yard 2,112 metre course and watch the start. All the boats start in a very similar way, be it a single, a double, a 4 or an 8. They come to the start, it's 2 boats rowing against each other and they are manoeuvred in position. The sort of floating deck that you can see out there that this boat is reversing into will hold the boat in position at the start line, so the bow of the boat is at the start. When the crews are ready, and here we've got 2 8s, that is, the bows are lined up with the start. The crews will signal that they're ready by the coxswain at the back of the boat dropping their hand, and then the race will be started. What always impresses me, particularly with 8s, is the explosive nature of the start. They seem to go from 0 to maximum in such a quick burst of speed and power. It's absolutely amazing to see. The umpire's launch, the motorboat coming up behind, really struggles with good crews to actually keep up with them. And as you can see, the crews are pulling away from the boat, and the launch will only catch up with them by the end of Temple Island.
Ready, I shall start you like this. Attention, go. Get ready, please. Yeah, attention. Go.
And there's a start of a race. Even with pairs, they pull away so fast from the start position. And here are 2 8s pulling away from the start. Again, I'm always impressed with the power and speed that these crews go. The umpire's launch struggling to keep up. As I said earlier, part of the bank had been removed to get such a long straight course, and this means the crews are quite close to the towpath shortly after the start. And this gives a great viewpoint. And it is a long, long row up that course. In the Stewards Enclosure, they still have some old tech available in the form of the progress board. This shows how the crews are getting on up the course by sliding the crews along the board. And it's in the enclosure that the crews really get cheered on by the crowds. And for some races, the cheering can be quite deafening, particularly if it's a school's crew. Now, my favourite view of the finish is from the floating grandstand, an absolutely stunning view where you can look down the course and see the finish. And what's it all about? It's about all this silverware, all these cups for all the different events of the Henley Royal Regatta. And the biggest and the grandest of them all is the Grand Challenge Cup. Now, this is not the original Grand Challenge Cup from 1839, from that first regatta. This is a replacement cup that was given to Henley Royal Regatta by Harvard University. They also donated the big bases that the cup stands on, a stunning piece of silverware. And when it comes to award time, there is a procession down to the awards being given, where the person presenting that year is taken down for the ceremony on the final day to present the cups to the winning crews. And the first cup to be awarded is the Grand Challenge Cup.
The Grand Australia.
Now, one of the remarkable things about Henley Royal Regatta is if you return to the course just 6 to 8 weeks later, there is hardly any sign that the regatta took place. The blue and white striped tents of the boat tent area are gone. The stands are gone. The booms down the river are gone. Everything is gone. The area is quiet and has been returned to Riverside Meadow. Pathways that were once busy and had security are now empty. The boat tents are gone and packed away for another year. The crowds have left. The river looks empty and quiet. Where there were once tents and people having fun are now quiet and empty. There are no booms or structures in the river. The floating grandstand has gone. The judges' boxes and the finish line are no more. The grandstands are gone, and the only indication that they were there are small metal markers in the grass. No more bars or food tents. The regatta enclosure has been packed away for another year. Fields that contained bars and numerous food stalls during the regatta are now empty. The busy and crowded towpaths are now empty. The Remenham Club now looks almost abandoned. No more booms marking out the course up the River Thames. Coppice Land is now quiet and empty, no more bars or people partying. A quiet river. And nothing at the start of the regatta course.
Okay, so that's my take on Henley Royal Regatta. Hopefully you found it interesting and entertaining, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, a like, and also think about subscribing to the channel if you've not already done so. Now there's 2 more videos to come in this series, one on the traditional boat festival and one on Henley Arts Festival. On the screen now you will find a QR code, and if you scan that QR code that will take you through to a newsletter about the grey wagtail. And if you don't want to scan the QR code, there is a link to it in the description below. Thanks for watching for this long, and bye for now.